My name is Emily Marks. In 2024, I exhibited my book art at Sonoma, California's Alley Gallery from October 30th through November 5th. I made this video so viewers can see what comprised my show. In addition to 10 pieces, I had a make-it table for those visitors to try their hands at working with paper and paste, and on one wall, a history of the form of the book, illustrated with real papyrus and vellum. The following are pictures and commentary on the main artworks. The first one, Minding, was made in 2024. For a long time, I've been interested in the workings of the brain. What is the mind, and how do we perceive life? These are questions that are debated every day as we learn more through the field of neuroscience. In trying to do a book about such a complex subject, I decided on 2 layers of accordion folds. The back layer is a repeating print of free-form neurons that I painted with India ink. The front layer consists of different aspects that interest me particularly. There are 5 sections. The first is past thoughts about the brain. The second is the 5 senses. Third, psychology, the science of the mind and its behavior. Fourth, altered states, when your mind takes a walk. And lastly, memory. Each spread contains cutouts of a head with the brain in its proper place. Then there are drawings around it and quotations that comment on each topic. The cuttings show the neuron drawings on the back panels. I chose to do all the drawings myself, augmenting them with colored pencils. As much as possible, I wanted to fashion this book with my hands while still relying on some computer printing. The goal was to show what a brain can do. To see more on this book, go to another YouTube video entitled Minding, an artist book about the human brain by Emily Marks. Bookends. This was done in 2015. The books on the left are John Bunyan's Pilgrim Progress, Thomas Wolfe's Look Homeward Angel, F. Scott Fitzgerald This Side of Paradise, M. Scott Peck's In Heaven as on Earth. In the middle, standing up, are Richard North Patterson's The Final Judgment, Joshua Ferris's Then We Came to the End, Stephen King's The Dead Zone. On the right, Dostoevsky's Notes from the Underground, Milton's Paradise, Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth, Dante's Inferno, and Jean-Paul Sartre's No Exit. The painting above is Fra Angelico's The Last Judgment mounted on wood, the ladder and staircase covered with pages of the Bible. I was thinking about the Christian view of the afterlife with this piece. Although I am not a believer in heaven and hell, many people are. It was with that thought that I began to assemble titles of familiar hardback books. Picturing ascending or descending, I drilled holes in 2 stacks of books with titles chosen to refer to heaven, death, and hell. I fashioned a circular staircase for going up to heaven and a plain ladder for going down to hell. Then I found the Fra Angelico painting, The Last Judgment, that matched perfectly with the book's sculpture. Fighting Words, made in 2017, made of fiber interfacing, paint, text from the Iliad, Shakespeare's Henry V, Johnny Tremaine, Shogun, War and Peace, The Red Badge of Courage, All Quiet on the Western Front, Catch-22, The Things They Carried, and The Yellow Birds, with archival inks and paper clay hand grenades. Books used to be in the form of scrolls, so I decided to make one for my thoughts about works of fiction about war. I enjoyed making the finials on the ends of the scrolls in the form of hand grenades. As a student of literature, I had read many of these classics individually, but when I decided to take up the theme of war stories, I realized that through the ages there has been a transition from glorifying bravery in battle to deploring the violence and senseless death of the killing fields. Realism has triumphed over myth-making, allowing present-day cynicism and horror to stand out as an overriding theme. In the Rooms, the Women Come and Go, 2023. As a student of literature, I've always been sensitive to how women are portrayed. I was intrigued with the theme of rooms in a house that are pertinent to women's roles. I decided to bite off something really challenging, creating a dollhouse out of paper that would confront this subject. I found a used copy of a fold-out Victorian dollhouse with stairs and rooms upstairs and down. Using this as a model and copying some of the layout, I made a feminist version with allusions to themes that concern women. The book folds out, and hidden magnets on the front and back cover turn it into a three-dimensional dollhouse. The first section has a Victorian living room with stairs, and on top of that, a room for female artists who worked at home. The second section reveals a bedroom on the bottom and a Gothic horror room on top. The third section has a bathroom on the bottom and a nursery on the top, and the last section shows a kitchen on the bottom with a garret for the poor on the top. I made a separate YouTube video about this piece called In the Rooms by Emily Marks. Novel American Odysseys, 2016. This is an accordion fold book with text from James Fenimore Cooper's The Pathfinder, Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn, John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, Jack Kerouac's On the Road, Cormac McCarthy's The Road. It also has a handmade wrap cover with book cloth and magnets. The Odyssey, a heroic journey, is one of the most common themes in literature. I chose some classic American novels to show different journeys of 5 different stories, starting with the earliest times in American history to a futuristic novel. The 3D form, called a carousel book, seemed to fit the theme. I chose not to use color to tell these stories in black and white. Pride and Prejudice Sampler, 2020. During the period when COVID kept many of us inside, I decided to use up my embroidery floss on a long cross-stitch project. Thus was the idea of the sampler born. Pride and Prejudice has consistently appeared near the top of the lists of most loved books among literary scholars, and the reading public for more than a century. Dramatic adaptations, reprints, unofficial sequels, films, and TV versions of Pride and Prejudice have portrayed the memorable characters and themes of the novel, reaching mass audiences. I've always loved the story. My first thought of what to sew was Pemberton, the name of hero Darcy's mansion and grounds. Looking up places on the internet, I found what I thought was the right model and proceeded to mark fine linen with disappearing ink for the architectural details. With a hoop holding the linen tight, I made tiny cross stitches to outline the building. It did take a long time, but once it was done, worth the effort. The other components came next. The profiles of Elizabeth and Darcy are silhouettes printed on silk, and then gold thread forms a frame around each of them. I had fun with the carriage, the stag, and horse, as well as various flower forms. Jo's Shawl, 2015. Made of knitted audio cassette tape of Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, fringe from the text of the book, embroidered chapter headings, illustrations, and collected memorabilia, pictures of the author and Ralph Waldo Emerson. Little Women is a novel by American author Louisa May Alcott that was originally published in 2 volumes in 1868 and 1869. The novel follows the lives of 4 sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy March, detailing their passage from childhood to womanhood, and is loosely based on Alcott and her 3 sisters. The author was the daughter of Branson Alcott, who, along with neighbors Ralph Waldo Emerson, Nathaniel Hawthorne, and Henry David Thoreau, founded the Transcendentalist movement in Concord, Mass. Raised in poor but enlightened circumstances, Louisa May Alcott became one of the most beloved and popular authors of the 19th century. Her Jo, based on her own self, is still today an inspiration to millions both in the U.S. and abroad. The Movable Triangle book, made in 2012. I've always loved triangles, their zoomy angles and different configurations. I decided to use pop-up constructions inside a triangle-shaped book to explore the subject matter. The form of the book is a triangle. The inside is divided into 6 individual spreads: triangles in mathematics, engineering, the Bermuda Triangle, love triangles, the Phil Jackson's basketball use of the triangle offense, and a musical triangle. I tried to use different movable structures on each page. Some pull down, some pop up, and some have a pocket. The outside boards are covered with a soft red paper called lokta, indigenous to Nepal, with triangles stamped on top of them. Golden Book Queen Cape, 2016. Each year, the Sonoma Community Center has a fundraiser called the Trashin' Show. Makers construct outfits out of trash to be modeled on a real runway with prizes and admiration from a large crowd. It's always fun to make an outfit for the show. From my earliest reading days, I've always loved the Little Golden Books, the American series of children's books first published in 1942. Disney still makes them, and some of the old ones of my youth have been reissued. I have a collection, and having so many, they inspired me to make this garment. I took the form from Sleeping Beauty's evil stepmother, who wore a collar that stood up stiffly. I made this collar and covered it with red satin. I applied gold stars and rhinestones and gold fringe to embellish it. I used the same satin to line the cape. The outside is made of illustrations from various golden books cut into leaf shapes with glued-on glitter and rhinestones. I loved making it, thinking of my youth and my love of dressing up. Reading the Detectives, 2016. Accordion fold book with dollhouse doors, text, and cover pictures of detective novels. I love detective novels and consume them like candy. It occurred to me to make a piece based on their colorful and sometimes lurid covers. The form is more complex than the usual accordion fold, as it has another smaller accordion fold attached inside the first. Both sides are different, allowing for many views. Some of the fun was to extract favorite quotes from famous detective stories, mounting them along with their covers. If you would like to know more about me, please go to my website, emdands.com. Thank you.